YouTube. This is your host, King Gio in the house. Well, I want to say something. It doesn't surprise me what happened yesterday with the draft that was going around the Supreme Court saying that Judge Samuel Alito has declared that Roe versus Wade was going to be overturned. What gets me surprised is that, that it took this long, because the Supreme Court has always been conservative. I think twice in its history has it been more to the left and more to the right. There's been more judges, Democrats, that be chosen by Democrats than was Republicans. But for the most part, I've known, there's always been a favor in the Republican side. I know that this is happening because Alito's a good friend of Donald Trump, and it's midterm, so they want to get that right? I think so. But I want to show you a video in which Donald Trump himself, back in 1999, it's a little bit twisted. I'm driving, so I did it the best way I could. Where he said he hates abortion. If he were president of the United States, he would not ban abortion.
There's a tremendous movement on to have and allow gay marriage. It's just something that is too premature for me to comment on.
How about gays serving in the military?
You gotta be mindful of one thing. All you right-wing jobs out there.
Again, I'd want to talk to lots of experts within the military, but it's not something that would disturb me. I mean, I lived in New York City and Manhattan all my life, okay? So, my views are a little bit different than if I lived in Iowa, perhaps, but it's not something that would disturb me.
Partial birth abortion, the eliminating of abortion in the third trimester. Big issue in Washington. Would President Trump ban partial birth abortion?
Well, look, I'm very pro-choice. I hate the concept of abortion. I hate it in everything it stands for. I cringe when I listen to people debating the subject. But I just believe in choice. And again, maybe a little bit of a New York background, because there is some different attitude in different parts of the country. And, I was raised in New York and grew up and worked and everything else in New York City. But I am strong for choice, and yet I hate the concept of abortion.
But you would not ban or ban partial birth abortion?
I am pro-choice in every respect and as far as it goes, but I just hate it.
You may change your opinion, but not your view, because that's a perception that you see. So you see, he said he hates it, he cringes when he sees people talk about abortion. And he is pro-choice. Pro-choice, people. And now he's going to war a country he wants abortion to be made legal. Mind you, this is how politics is. You go where the flow is. Donald Trump has always been a Democrat. He's voted in New York Democrat. He's been a Democrat. He has given money to the Democratic Party. And he only does that so that he can get his way when he's in New York or New Jersey. So when he had his casinos in New Jersey, and it was a Democrat committee, it was a Democrat house, it was a Democrat governor, he get what he wants, the same as New York. So he got a good deal in New York. So he always voted Democrat. So when he saw the opportunity, just like Mayor Bloomberg, Michael Bloomberg is a Democrat, but when he became mayor, he saw that as a Democrat, he was not going to win. So he went independent Republican. And I'm more independent, I think he was a Republican. And he won, because people were just tired of saying the same thing. And New York is a Democratic state. But just to show you that you could swing just to make, just to get what you want. I'm not a Republican, so I'm going to go with my Democrat, because it's a Democratic state. I'm going to turn over money, but I'm going to keep my views as a Republican. But I'm going in as a Democrat just to get in. Once I get in, I change. You can't change parties. But your views won't be the same as Democrats. You could always have something different. You may agree to something here and there, so they don't think that you're a rogue Democrat. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way politics is. That's not going to change. So that's what Donald Trump did. He went Republican because he knew that if he did Republican, he was going to win. That's that simple. When he says that he's not a politician, yes he is. He may not be in the political world, but he gives donations. He goes to political events. He rubs elbows. So, Roe versus Wade, that was just meant for it was a federal thing that you could not do it, that you had a choice to do abortion or not abortion. That was up to you. Now, Roe versus Wade, Roe versus Wade. And now, because this has to be handed down in June, so anything can happen between here and June. And if it did happen, it would give the state the authority to ban abortion or not. Now think about it this way. I'm tired of people putting God's name in abortions. I'm tired of people putting the Bible in abortion. Abortion and God has nothing to do with it. This concept of you should not kill, that means you should not go around killing people. Period. Has nothing to do with you should not have an abortion. Okay, the same way when people says that you should get married before having sex, it doesn't say anything about that in the Bible. The Bible only says don't be committing immoralities, sexual immoralities. Now, whatever you want to be called that sexual immorality, it doesn't say that. It does says a man will leave his father, a woman will leave his daughter, the daughter will leave his family, and both of them will join together. They will become one. Now that becoming one, if that is marriage, that is okay. But it didn't nowhere there did it say you have to become. You have to be monogamous, or abstinence, or virgin, in order for you to get married. Or if not, God won't accept you. None of that doesn't say in the Bible. But it's translated into the Catholicism. They're the ones that put all of this out, that you can't get married if you have a baby, if you have to have a baby. I mean, you cannot have a baby before marriage, that you can have sex before marriage, that you have to have baptism when you're in birth, but that's not even true, but that's okay. And you have billions of people follow this teaching. That's why I don't follow religion. You know that back in the days, if you didn't read the Roman Bible, they would behead you. They would kill you. That's how much religion is. Religion always a form, is a way of them controlling you. That's all it is. It's a way of them controlling you. Nothing more, nothing less. So when you put down that abortion is bad in God's eyes, no, that's not in God's eyes, because I don't think when God said, I don't want you to have abortions. If you have sex, you must have that baby. And then what gets me angry the most is that these right wings, right? They say they don't want abortion, right? But here you go. I know a Republican who had an abortion. Here you go. These Republicans, who I bet you 98% of them never even adopted a kid. 98% of them never even fostered a kid. But yet they want, by you overturning Roe versus Wade, you're giving these red states the power to ban abortion. And what that does is that now, now these young women who are being raped, who their fathers are molesting them, who a family member is molesting them, or even a church clergyman is molesting them, and they get pregnant, they have to have that child. Because the law says you cannot abort. You have to have that child. And you don't know how that person is going to feel having a child of a rapist, how that person is going to look at that child. You don't know if by her giving up, or her having birth and giving away that child, you don't know what damages psychological that's going to do to that person. You don't know that. And by you putting up a child for foster care or for adoption, that does not mean that this child is going to go to a good, caring foster home. Because most foster home, all they do is for the money. You know that. We know that. Right? So why say, if this was Judge Lito, he said that this was that Roe versus Wade was an egregious reach. Mind you, these people are supposed to be impartial. But being that it's midterm. Now I'll tell you something though. If you have a woman that all she does is have sex, and she's getting abortions here and there, and she's like 6-7 abortions in her game, And this girl that you want to stop reproducing, you do something, because that's ridiculous now. There are ways for you not to get pregnant. Use those ways. Use them. Plain and simple. But I think Roe versus Wade is a smack in the face to everybody. I think it's not helping anybody out. It's just being done for political motivation. Alito is a very Trump supporter. He never did this before Donald Trump. And he just wants to get him on Donald Trump's side. But like the video said, Trump believes, he doesn't believe in abortion. Okay? But he wants to go where the flow is. So if the party says they're not an abortion, that they believe in that, he wants to go with the flow, like a little kid. You go with the flow. He wants to be with the cool guys. You know what I mean? And that ain't cool. You have to give that person a choice. The same way you do rules, you make laws. That person has a choice whether to break them or not. They go into a bank and they rob a bank. That person gets caught, then he has to be mature enough to take responsibility and attend to the consequences, because you broke the law. You chose to go into that bank and break the law. That's something different. But this is your body. Why should anyone tell you what you can and cannot do with your body? Because you're reading a book where it's nowhere does it say abortion is legal. It just say, thou shalt not kill. And that was in the Old Testament. And if anyone was smart enough, thou shalt not kill, that's still in the Old Testament. That's one of the commandments. But it never says, thou shalt not have sexual relationships. And once pregnant, you must have child. Where does it say that? I don't know. And I read the Bible up and down. I don't see it. Never seen it. Now, if you look in the New Testament, it does say sexual immorality. Whatever you choose, whatever you think sexual immorality is, the theologians think and say that marriage, that having sex before marriage, is considered a sin. They put that in the sexual immorality section. But that's theologians. They're not God. It could be a variation of many things. No masturbation, no fornication, stuff like that. It says sexual immorality. Whatever that means to God, we don't know. But we do know that masturbation and other stuff, committing adultery, that can be called sexual immorality because you're having sex with that woman also, and stuff like that. But when you come and you say that you're an evangelist, I know I said it wrong, evangelical, and you scream God, that's wrong. That's wrong, because you're doing everything that God doesn't stand for. God does not stand people who judge. He says, judge, he who is perfect, he who is free of sin, throw the cast stone. He cast the first stone. You read the story when Jesus did that, right? He who is free of sin, cast the first stone. No one should judge, for only I can judge. Okay? Let vengeance be mine. Alright? So, where, you're being judgmental, and that's bad against God's eyes. You can't be judgmental, because you're supposed to see we are all created equal. We're all good and good in God's eyes. We do bad things. People do bad things. And you would hope that person that did that bad thing changes his or her life around. But not to judge, because it's not our job on this earth. It's not to judge. Our job on this earth is to love one another, to help one another, and be the best God-fearing men and women that we can be, because we're not perfect. Right? But to put in your 2 cents because the Bible says this, when the Bible does not say that, it's different. So it's this overturn is going to hurt a lot of minorities. It's going to hurt a lot of people in the black community. It's going to hurt a lot of people in the Hispanic community. And it's going to hurt people in the white community too, who don't have the means for an abortion, who don't have the means, who got raped or molested by an uncle or a brother, and has a child, and then the mother like, whose baby is that? Oh, that's Uncle Joe's, Uncle Frank's, or it's Daddy's. What you mean he's daddy's baby? It happens. Then what? You can't get an abortion, and the mother has to stay there and watch her granddaughter be born, who's fathered by her husband, by her daughter's father, her husband, or her brother. You see? Incest nation all over again. You open up a Pandora door. You open up a Pandora door for nothing, because people's view, and they're doing this just for votes. That's the sad part. Because if you told me that having an abortion would lower your age or would do something that's going to be detrimental to your health, and you can see that, then why not? But it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with people taking it because the Bible said, because they said that their pastor, not pastor, their priest said abortion is illegal. You cannot abort. Like I said, nowhere in the Bible does say that. So think about it. You have your daughter's walking to a park, boom, she gets raped, God forbid, she gets pregnant. You as a mother don't want your daughter to have that child. That child that's 14, 15, 16 years old doesn't want to have that child. That woman who's 20, 30, 40 years old who just got raped doesn't want to have that child. But yet has to have that child because the law says that she cannot abort. The law. Okay? Now here comes the woman. She has that child, and then every time she looks at this child, she looks at the person who raped her. Can you love the child? Of course you can. The child is not at fault. You know, it's not the child's fault that mommy got raped. You know, but it's for some people, for the majority of women, they don't see like, oh, I'm gonna keep them. You know, no. Most people will get rid of it. Will get rid of the baby because the circumstances where that child was born. They don't want to be reminded that they got raped. They don't want to be reminded that they got molested. They don't want to be reminded of that. But yet, the right wing lets them be reminded every day. And this is what happens to you. This is what happens to you. And it's ridiculous. And if you support this, I mean, you're more ridiculous. I respect everyone's opinion, but give it to me with logic. That I can say, you know what? You have a point. Maybe if you have a point, so respect it, but it's a stupid point. But you have a point. But it's not like that. It's not like that, and that's a shame. You know, so if it happens in June and Roe versus Wade gets overturned, I think you're going to see a lot of changes. You're going to see a lot of people going to other states to get abortion, or a lot of people going to move from those red states and they're going to move to blue states so they can have their abortion. And not just have an abortion, just have a say with my body, my choice. Right? My body, my choice. So here you are, everybody, you're complaining that the government tells you to wear a mask, and that's violating your rights, right? Because it's your body, your choice. You choose to do it yourself. You cry that vaccine should not be mandated because it violates your right to choose. But yet, here you go, crying there should be no abortion, and you're trying to take away the right for someone else to choose. And you yourself don't want to get vaccinated because it takes away from your choice. Now, does that make any sense at all? No, it does not. It doesn't make any sense at all. They should keep Roe versus Wade, leave it the way it is, and that's it. And for women like that who are having sex and having babies, or having sex and getting an abortion, they should use a UDI, whatever it is, or have your tubes tied. Men who are going out there getting women pregnant, you should be ashamed of yourselves. You know, because you can prevent the women from getting pregnant if you use protection, or you just came outside. Plain and simple. But the laziness. You know, men are just as responsible as a woman for getting pregnant. But they don't get hurt just as much as women because they're the one that don't give birth. Alright? That's plain and simple. Some people say, I left a message one time and said, you know, the man don't get hurt. You know, it's the woman. All you have to do is they have to pay child support. No. They have to pay child support because they gotta pay child support. Because that's the law, that's the child. It's their responsibility. The woman goes ahead and has an abortion and she gets penalized for that. Then the man who got her pregnant should get penalized too. Because it takes two to tango. It takes two to tango. So if you got a woman pregnant and she goes ahead and has an abortion, and you two yourself should have, and you two yourself should be penalized in the state where abortion is illegal. Because you got her pregnant. I know some people say, oh, I can always say that, you know, I try to convince her. I don't care. You can't have your cake and eat it at the same time. So if you're going to penalize one, you must penalize the other. Because they both acted in concert. They both were together in bed. They were both doing the nitty gritty, you know what I'm saying? And they're both responsible for the act that happened afterwards. Whatever happened afterwards, they are both responsible for that. You cannot take the responsibility away from one and not have it and not give it to the other one either. That's not cool at all. Not cool. So it's going to be, you know, and it's kind of sad that this was leaked. I mean, how professional are these people? I think Judge Alito did this on purpose. You can see what's coming. It's a midterm election, so that gives more people the right wing nuts, more thumping, more power, more fire. Oh yeah, so the Supreme Court, oh yeah, now we got this right, we got this right. Now they're gonna feed more power to Trump 2024. But remember what I put down. Trump doesn't like abortion, but yet now he does. Like that was in 1999. Like I said, those were his views. You don't change your views. That's his character. That's what he believes in. Those are his beliefs. Like you can't change people's belief, but you can change their parties. It's going to fit you to win an election, or to win anything. To be honest, you know, just take what I tell you and what I said, and think about that. Think about the country that we live in, where your rights can be violated just like that, and they don't care. They don't. You may say you have the right to remain silent. They'll smack the shit out of you, and you're not silent no more. They may say they read you your rights, but they didn't read you your rights. You tell your lawyer that they did. Your lawyer put that in court. The police officer or the district attorney says no, they didn't, and that's it. They're gonna believe the cop. They're gonna believe the prosecution. Because you're a criminal, so as a criminal, you're guilty anyways. They say guilty to proven innocent. I don't think so. You're already guilty once you're handcuffed. In their eyes, because if you go walking around and they see you with handcuffs, what people gonna say? Oh, look at him! They arrested King Gio. He must have done something bad. What if I didn't do anything bad? What if I just got arrested because of the color of my skin? What if I got arrested because I said something bad? What if I just got arrested because they thought that I was something that I wasn't? And you're just assuming that I did something bad, right? And you're gonna front the judge. The judge is gonna think you're guilty anyway. He's not gonna tell you. He's gonna tell you he's impartial. My ass. So it is what it is. But I think it's gonna be a bad choice. It's gonna be a sad day for America for a long, long time. If Roe versus Wade gets overturned, the way Judge Alito said it is. And the funny thing is that Judge Roberts, in his dissertation one time, in one word, he said that he believes in the abortion, not in the abortion, that we should get involved. And look at him now. He got involved. Alito got involved. Another judge, Amy Barrett, got involved. So you know, like I said in my beginning of this video, the Supreme Court for the 200 some years that has been there, it has been mostly Republicans. It's been mostly right, and that's why I don't understand why it took from 1976 to now. It was all Republicans, the majority of Republicans. Why did they did this now to overturn Roe versus Wade? And the only thing that I can think of politically is because we're coming to midterms, and they want the Republican Party to win. And Alito is a Republican; he was chosen by one. He wants to win. He wants his party to win, and that's where all this comes in. See, all these people, they're in for the party, but they're not for the people. They're in for the party. So they want to grab that midterm election. They want to make sure that those senates, those House of Representatives get selected. The House of Representatives gets elected every 2 years. So they get elected so they can, when their bill comes up, if they get up in 2024, then their bill can go in front of you. If in 2024 a Republican wins the presidency, and they have the House and the floor, and they have the Senate and the House of Representatives, then they're good. Like Donald Trump, they could do whatever they want. If they have the majority, And to be honest with you, Democrats, that's for another video, they become weak. They become real weak. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, The King Geo. Gonna go to work. Check that out, make that moan.